Okay, people, real quick, we have to do a brake job, some rear brakes on a 2016 Chevy Malibu. And basically, this is what we're going to need. We're going to need a bungee cord, or you can use cable or wire. We're going to need some new brakes. You'll need some brake cleaner to clean the brakes before you take them apart. Little pack of grease you put on the back of the pad so they won't squeal. We're going to need a hammer. We'll need a C-clamp. That's pretty much what we're going to need before we get started. Okay, so the next step is you jack the car up so that the wheel is off the ground. And always you have a jack under the car in the proper position. And you always have jack stands or boards underneath the car so that if the jack gave way, the car is not going anywhere. So you always have to have 2 points of contact. See those 3 boards under the suspension? We're not going under the car, but you still want the car jacked up and suspended with 2 points of contact so that you can shake the car or kick it or whatever you need to do, but the car won't be going anywhere. So that's safety first. Next thing you're going to do is get you a C-clamp. You see that C-clamp? This C-clamp is going to push the brake calipers in. So you're going to have it squeeze in there. And then on the other end where the C-clamp grabs the brake, the calipers and everything, you just don't want this resting on a hose or anything sensitive. As long as it's on bare metal, then when you tighten this up, you won't damage anything. But be careful. You have to compress the brakes so that you can take them off, if that makes any sense. So basically, I'm going to just tighten this thing. And that's going to compress the brakes so that I can take the brakes off easier. Okay, so we remove the C-clamp. Take that off, put that out of the way. And then what we're going to have to do is we're going to take this part here off. We're going to take this off. You see how that's actually what squeezes compresses the brakes into the rotor. So to do that, we're going to have to go to these bolts here. Undo these bolts. You have to loosen these bolts. And this whole thing lifts off. You see those 2 bolts? That one there and the other one. See that? We're going to take those off next. Okay, so we remove the bolt. Like I told you, you have to remove both of those. You can barely see the other one. Just remember, it's behind a little squishy looking thing. That compresses also when you hit the brakes. So we remove the bolts. Like I told you, this piece here, it actually lifts. Sometimes you have to shimmy it off. And there are the brake pads right there. We can inspect them to see if we need to replace them. I thought we needed to replace them because I heard a grinding noise, but I'm going to inspect them further. Okay, so next we're going to carefully kind of shimmy these brakes out. You kind of shimmy. You see how they sit in those grooves? How the ears of their ears sit in those grooves there? Did you see that? That's how that goes. These new brakes come with new brackets, new hardware. So what you want to do is make sure you look at the old hardware that's already up there, and you want to replace it with the new hardware. I know it's getting dark. So that's a new piece from remember that's where the brakes slide in. You want to put those there. You're going to slide the new pads in that way. You see that? So you know how the ears go right in the grooves there. You see that? That's where the ears go. Goes right in there like that. So you'll see that. It's almost self-explanatory. Remember the brake shoes that have the silver tab on one end, those go on the outside. The ones without the silver tab goes on the inside. So it's going to be facing the outside of the car. The ones with the silver tab will be facing the inside of the car when you put them on. See, when the brake pad wears thin, this metal tab will be scraping against the rotor and you'll hear it, and that's how you know that it's time to change the brakes. You're going to put a little bit of the compound on the back. All right, so by the way, the bungee cord is so that you can hang the brake caliper. When you remove the brake caliper, you want to hang it and suspend it so that it's never hanging by the brake hose. But in this case, I have it resting on my blocks so it's not hanging. Okay, just slide the new pads in through the ears. Like I showed you, they fit into the ears. You grease them up on the back with this squeezing, with the anti-squeal compound. You do both sides. I don't know if you can see that. And then you're ready to take the caliper, put him back in place. So lift the caliper up. You see that? Put it back in place, just the way you had it. And then you're gonna put your screws back in. Got it? Okay. So then you're just gonna put the caliper back to where it was. You're gonna line your hole up for your bolt to the little squishy thing. Then you get the bolt, put it through there, and remember, you have two. So you have to line all of that stuff up. Bolt. Put the ears of the caliper there. Put the bolt through. Next thing I like to do is put the wheel back on. Put the lug nuts on and tighten them up properly, nice and tight. Then after that, you have to just raise the vehicle a little bit higher so that you can then, remember, you have to take your boards and your blocks from under the vehicle. Take the blocks out. Then you're going to lower it all the way to the ground and you should be good to go.